or is it possible for you to get copies from the county themselves as to the paperwork that they claim they got those numbers from? It would be interesting to see the paperwork that they claim they got those numbers from. If they got them from us, there shouldn't be this discrepancy. I'd like to know what they have on file that would show that discrepancy.
Should be voidable?
Yes, and Madam Chair, I don't think they're in disagreement with us, but I can't speak for them. But they would be voidable. And I would just like to apologize earlier for going on the defensive. You have to understand this, to me, calls to question the integrity of my office, and that this is not the first time this has happened to me with the county and elections this year. So I'm about at it with that.
I've been very careful about whom I've spoken to about this process, and I've been very protective about the city's involvement in it. I don't find fault in that process. So I just am very concerned about what's going to happen Monday night.
Yes, Amaya, this is my office, Sarah and myself, this has made us physically sick. Like, we are very upset about it, but as I said, we do not supersede what the county or the state says, so we're kind of, our hands are tied as well. And Mr. Miller's just a wonderful person, and I mean, that wouldn't make a difference, but it's just been difficult.
Well, and I don't know the other individuals, so I don't want to say that he's not wonderful. I don't want to be between those two, and I'm sure that you don't either. But if you even have suggestions of an attorney that's willing to take on this case that will, work for a reasonable amount, it's just been very trying and very troubling, and it's made for a very bad holiday season.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Mayor?
I think, going back to Ms. Stellini's comments about people not responding, I think the bigger issue isn't that people haven't reached out. I mean, there's been an abundance of people calling to try to get some resolve to this. The issue is the law doesn't work on our side in this case. There isn't really a lot of options other than the candidate initiating the lawsuit. At that point in time, there's a lot of things that we can do to engage, but in terms of the law, I think that's why the phone call, we can call 10 more times, but the answer isn't going to change, unfortunately, until the lawsuit's filed.
May I ask another question? Through you to counsel, where would the lawsuit be filed? In Wayne County Court? State Court? Circuit Court, right?
Probably Wayne County.
Madam Chair, I'm not an attorney, and I like to play with it every now and then, but if I was on the school board, I'd refuse to seat the candidate. I mean, if this election was called into question, this body wants to uphold the integrity of this election. I think that the school board's in a difficult situation, and I understand that they're not in control of the election, but it's their body that is potentially being compromised. I would refuse to seat the person, or at least I would give consideration to do that. And then if the individual not being seated wants to file a lawsuit, and then all of the facts that went behind why he or she was not seated would come out, then the lawsuit would be filed. And maybe the facts would come out. It seems like they're clear, and it seems like if any of us was a judge or a jury and we heard all those facts, we'd probably side with Mr. Miller. And I know that's very generic. It's easier said than done, but the fact that the time isn't on the side, law isn't on the side, the city can't legally represent, I would consider an option being not seating anyone until whatever legal action can or needs to be taken is to the satisfaction of the board and the body who is potentially being compromised.
Yeah. We've been told that the election's been certified, the candidates have been certified. There are 3 females and a male candidate that were certified, and those are the people that we need to swear in. That's what we've been told. So if there's a
That comes from the county?
Through the superintendent conversations, I don't believe it's through the county, but and it's a legal certification of the candidate, and we can't defy that.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. I'm
I
speaking in
just-
general terms that seems to be the likely body to stand up and say, I'm on this body, and what happened isn't correct, and it's not for or against a certain candidate. It's for the process. Everything Mr. Miller said, well, what do we tell the voters? What do we tell the people that we know voted, that we know our clerk had, that the county seems to acknowledge? I don't know who physically or legally does the swearing in, if it's the superintendent, I don't know how that happens, but I would be curious if those people or that person or that body stood up and said, this isn't right, and in representation of the residents and voters of the city of Taylor, we're going to refuse to move forward until this wrong is righted.
Well, that's another city official. Judge Stellini has been certified and swearing in our candidate. So,
I'm sorry, but just my opinion.
I'm just telling you what I know. I don't
Thank you.
know everything. Thank you for your.
Thank you.
Good evening, Kathie Fields, 22670 Creek Drive. They pretty well have made the statements of what was going on. My vote didn't count. My city's not backing up my vote. That's where my concern is. It's not that Ms. Bauer did anything incorrect. She's been awesome. Her and I have even met on it. I was also one of the poll workers where I collected 41 votes that were not, that it was precinct 18. That was, the county had put up as 0. Does that mean that when all of you or whoever chooses to rerun, doesn't that concern you about your votes? Don't you want your votes to count? Yes, it might be a legal matter, but I'm really disappointed that the city isn't trying to take some kind of initiative as a whole body to go after the county and say, straighten this out. These are our voters. Their votes don't matter in Taylor. Is that what we want? Another black eye? Let's move to Taylor. Your vote doesn't count. That's where I'm upset. It's not a matter of this one won or that one won. Whoever won, my vote didn't count. That's what I'm upset about. And all of you should worry about the election coming up. Thank you.
Good evening, Jamee McCoy, 10831 Westlake Street. I too have run for school board election, and to follow up with Ms. Stellini, Mr. Miller, and Mrs. Fields. I've heard everything that every single one of you, including you, Mr. Mayor, has said about their hands being tied legally. My concern with tonight is first and foremost to alleviate a little bit of Ms. Bauer's fear, is that I have had a personal conversation with her in her office too, and I would just like to thank you for everything that you've done for the election across the board. You've had personal conversations with myself, you've helped guided not just myself, but plenty of other people through the process. Nobody here has questioned the integrity of the office. Our concerns and our complaints are with county. I really have no questions for anybody tonight because, as I previously said, everybody prior to me has addressed those concerns. The only statement that I wish to make is that as a 16-year citizen of this city, to know that, as with the prior speakers, my vote, my husband's vote, and several of our friends, family, and neighbors' vote did not count in our precinct for the people that we voted for is quite disturbing. I have taken this conversation public on social media, have had private conversations with many people throughout the city, and I have received feedback from some individuals. Well, it's just a school board election. What are you so upset about? Or it's just sour grapes. It doesn't matter who the write-in person is who won. Actually, it goes much deeper than that. This election has gone from presidential to proposals to bonds to millages to judges to our state representative down the school board and a few other things in between I'm sure I'm missing. My concern is that as a voting citizen of the voted for, that your vote was not counted. It's quite disturbing what the county of Wayne has dismissed as unimportant as the citizens of this county electing different officials and proposals through. What hasn't been counted? What has slipped through the cracks? And as Mrs. Fields previously stated, with the election coming up for each and every single one of your seats, how upset are each and every single one of you going to be when you may or may not get reelected and know that due to Wayne County's inefficiencies to do their job, that you may lose your seat due to that, and sitting here 11 months from now going through the same thing that we're going through. It's a great concern. And where I understand, as again, Mayor Stoller stated, that legally your hands are tied, we elected each and every one of you to represent us as citizens of the city. With our votes not being counted, I feel personally that we are not being represented and not being stood up for. Thank you.